The Deputy Attorney General took the aggressive step that no one else did and interviewed Ms. Maxwell for 2 days, and we released the entirety of that transcript.
Who are the cabinet members?
I do not have that transcript in front of me. You're picking it piecemeal. The American public can read the entirety of that.
One last question, because you clearly won't tell us the cabinet members associated with Mr. Epstein. Let me ask you one last question. And that is, right after she gives this testimony in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of
you're not
inmates.
in the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of California. We are bringing historic reform. Point of order. But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most transparent FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Both of you be quiet before I go to Senator Tillis.
That there's no misunderstanding is a single. There will be no politicization at the FBI. There'll be no to terminate or discipline. You also committed, you assured Senator Blumenthal, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. So you're testifying today that you played no role in the firing of even a single FBI agent for political retribution.
None for political retribution.
And if any FBI agent said you did, they would be lying. Is that your testimony?
I'm only speaking to my actions. Everybody is allowed to make their allegations.
Oh, no, these are allegations against you. And so, Mr. Patel, if FBI, senior FBI agents or employees said that you were firing them for political retribution reasons because of the cases they were assigned, you're saying they would be lying. Is that
anyone that was terminated at the FBI was done so for failing to meet the standards, uphold their constitutional oath, and effectuate the mission.
Well, by meet the standards, are you talking about meet the standards of protecting the president under any circumstance?
No.
You also guaranteed Senator Blumenthal that every FBI employee will be held to the same, absolute same standard. No one will be terminated for case assignments. Are you testifying today that you never terminated anyone at the FBI, in whole or in part, because of a prior case assignment?
No one at the FBI is terminated for case assignments alone.
Well, I'm asking about you, Mr. Patel. Did you, in whole or in part, terminate anyone at the FBI because they worked on the Trump investigation or because they worked on January 6th?
No one at the FBI has been terminated for case assignments alone.
Okay, you're saying alone. Does that mean they were terminated in part because they were assigned to a January 6th case or assigned to the Mar-a-Lago case? You're being very precise here, Mr. Patel. You're saying alone. That means they were fired in part because they were assigned those cases. Is that your testimony?
Absolutely not. But if you want to keep putting words in my mouth,
then let me ask you, let's strip away the word alone. Did you terminate or participate in any discipline of any FBI employee in whole or in part because of their work on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th? Yes or no?
Any terminations at the FBI by employees.
No, I'm asking you a very specific question.
And I'm going to answer the question, but you don't like the answer because it's the truth and it got
want an answer to my question. I don't want an answer to someone else's question. So let me just be precise, and I ask for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
FBI employee.
What happened in Washington that day was not a routine hearing. It was a political collision, a power test, and a warning shot for American democracy. When the Senate hearing began, the room looked calm. Cameras were rolling, lawmakers were seated, and FBI Director Kash Patel sat at the witness table. But beneath that calm surface, tension was already boiling. Everyone in the room knew this wasn't going to be business as usual, because the man holding the microphone was Senator Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff is not just another senator. He is one of the sharpest Democratic interrogators in Washington, a central figure in Trump-era investigations, and a lawmaker who understands how institutions rise and how they fall. When Schiff speaks in a hearing like this, he is not speaking only to the witness. He is speaking to the country, to history, and to the future of American law enforcement. Schiff opened with a warning, not a question. He reminded the room that throughout history, democracies collapse not in one dramatic moment, but when law enforcement is turned into a political weapon. And then he dropped a question that instantly changed the temperature in the room. He looked directly at FBI Director Kash Patel and asked whether the FBI under his leadership would be used for political retaliation. Would it be used against people who oppose Donald Trump? Against critics? Against political enemies? That question landed like a hammer. Because in America, the FBI is supposed to stand above politics. It is supposed to answer to the law, not to loyalty. And yet, for years now, both sides of the political divide have accused the Bureau of doing the opposite. Schiff was forcing Patel to answer the question millions of Americans are quietly asking. Is the FBI still independent, or has it become another battlefield in the culture war? Kash Patel paused before answering. His response was carefully constructed. He said he would follow the law. He said he would not engage in personal vendettas. But then he added a line that immediately raised alarms. He said that anyone who had broken the law would be held accountable. On its face, that sounds reasonable. But in Washington, words matter. And that sentence left a door open, a door Schiff immediately pushed on. Schiff responded sharply. He said accountability and revenge are not the same thing. He asked Patel whether he understood the difference. Because that difference, Schiff warned, is the line between justice and authoritarianism. At that moment, the hearing stopped being procedural. It became philosophical. It became about power. Who controls the FBI? And who decides who is guilty? Democrats fear that Patel, a known Trump loyalist, could weaponize the Bureau against former officials, journalists, and political opponents under the banner of accountability. Republicans argue the opposite, that the FBI was already weaponized against Trump, and Patel represents a long, overdue correction. Patel himself stood at the center of this storm, trusted by one half of the country and deeply distrusted by the other. Then Schiff escalated. He moved to the most dangerous subject in American elite politics, Jeffrey Epstein. The moment that name was spoken, the room changed. Epstein is not just a criminal. He is a symbol of everything Americans fear about power without accountability. Wealth, influence, sex trafficking, and a mysterious death that still raises more questions than answers. Schiff asked whether the FBI had withheld Epstein-related files under political pressure. He asked whether powerful individuals had been protected. He asked whether the full truth had been buried to shield the elite. These were not casual accusations. These were direct challenges to the credibility of the FBI itself. Epstein's case has haunted the American system for years. Who was on his client list? Who knew what and when? Why were some people prosecuted while others were never even questioned? And how did a man at the center of such explosive allegations die in federal custody? These questions have never gone away, and Schiff dragged them back into the spotlight. Patel responded by saying the Epstein files were handled according to the law and that nothing was hidden to protect anyone. But he stopped short of promising full public disclosure. That hesitation was enough to fuel suspicion. Democrats seized on it immediately. If there is nothing to hide, they argued, why not release everything? Why not let the public see the truth? Republicans fired back just as hard. They accused Democrats of exploiting Epstein's victims for political gain. They warned against reckless accusations without evidence. They said turning investigations into public spectacle undermines justice and damages innocent people. The hearing room erupted into partisan warfare, with the chairs struggling to maintain order. At its core, this was not just a fight about Kash Patel or Adam Schiff. It was a fight about two completely different visions of America. One side believes institutions are under threat from political loyalty tests. The other believes those same institutions were already corrupted and must be dismantled and rebuilt. The FBI stands in the middle of that fight, its reputation hanging by a thread. So what is actually true? The truth is uncomfortable for both sides. Transparency is necessary, especially in a case as dark and unresolved as Epstein's. Public trust cannot survive secrecy forever. At the same time, accusations without evidence can destroy institutions just as surely as corruption can. Weaponizing investigations, whether for revenge or for political theater, puts democracy at risk. This hearing made one thing clear. America is no longer just debating policy. It is debating whether its institutions can survive the pressure of extreme polarization. The FBI is not just an agency anymore. It is a symbol, and symbols, once broken, are hard to rebuild. The consequences of this moment will not be immediate, but they will be lasting. This confrontation will echo into future elections, future investigations, and future confirmations. Epstein's files will remain a pressure point. Trust in federal law enforcement will continue to erode unless transparency and restraint return. In the end, this hearing was a mirror held up to the nation. A nation divided, suspicious, angry, but still asking questions. And as long as those questions are asked openly, democracy still has a pulse. The danger comes when the questions stop, when power goes unchallenged, and when silence replaces accountability. History shows that is when democracies don't collapse with a bang, but fade away quietly.